and welcome to episode 26 of our project Hybrid Bike Build 1978 Honda 404, the Hybrid. And yes, you've guessed it, it's Rebuild Day, part 1. So, what's the plan today? No, don't tell them. Roll the intro, let's find out in a minute. So job number 1 is to fit the swing arm. So, what's the best plan with this, Malk? Obviously it's going that way up.
Pop some grease in there, stick the bearings in.
Yep.
Pop it in position. Wires the bolt through it.
Okay. Sounds simple enough. Right.
We might have to clean these faces off for the bearings to
Yes.
sit against, but if it goes in, we'll leave it.
Okay.
First things first, I'm just going to clean up this bolt that holds the swing arm on, simply because it's nice to work with clean things, and then you can re-grease it later with nice clean grease. So we've not gone crazy, but just clean all the grease and gank off. This is just kind of some kind of surface corrosion, it's not rust or anything, so we're all good.
So we're going to reuse the bearings that came out of it because they looked pretty damn good and they came out fairly easily.
They were really clean, weren't they? Just
And we haven't got any swing arm.
Yeah, we didn't buy any.
Because this is an aftermarket swing arm, so we don't actually know what ones they are.
We could probably just go to the bearing shop and get new ones.
It's very possible, but there's nothing wrong with these.
Yeah.
So they're going back in.
Yeah, and they get covered in grease now. So these are tapered roller bearings. We have a bearing race that goes in, and then a conical shaped bearing that sits in that race and rolls around. It's actually pressed onto this end piece, which seals into the swing arm. And I can't actually remember which way around it, because that was in the swing arm one, because I remember knocking them out.
That's right. That goes up against the lip in there.
Yeah, so we'll give this a quick wipe off as well, and then apply some new grease. And you can see where the bearings have been sat in there. There's like dark lines in there, and if you can see those, it's not corrosion, it's just a shiny spot where they've been sitting.
They've been rolling against it.
Yeah, and you'll think it doesn't really move that far, does it?
No.
As a swing arm, it's just a tiny bit, so it's probably just where it rolls.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I can't feel any damage in there. It feels smooth. If it was a wheel bearing, I'd have said, yeah, change that. But it's not.
That didn't leak either. There's no leakage.
No, and it's got this seal thing that stops grit getting in.
Yeah.
So it was all pretty clean. I think it's literally just the fact that it's been used. Okay, so I'm just going to smear some clean grease on there, not too much. A bit in there and
slot it in.
Knock it in, yeah. A little bit of grease in there. We don't need to put too much grease in here, because at a later stage there's a grease nipple here, and we can just pump a whole ton of grease in there.
Just to pack it out. So that's just enough to make it greasy, and then when the bike's all back together again, and before we run it, just whack a load more grease in.
We'll go around and do all the stuff.
That's a 30.
Yeah, that's nice.
Then it won't jam in.
Yeah.
A 32 would also be ideal, but then it probably gets stuck in a hole.
Yeah. So
there we go. That should fit in there quite nicely, and then hammer home.
Yeah. Here with that nice nice seal.
I have a cold. Not good.
I notice he has a cold quite a lot.
Yeah, but my colds last about 8 hours.
You seem to be susceptible to them though.
I know, but they only last about 8 hours. It's weird. I get a cold and then it's gone by the end of the day. I also get hay fever as well, so it's confusing to know whether it's hay fever or cold. And go.
No, you do it. I'm a bit greasy. So again, clean all the old brown grease off and put gold grease on. Of course, I'm getting covered in it. It's more green. Look at it. It's luminous.
I'll be the wife.
Okay. What's for dinner? That was a bit sexist, wasn't it?
It was. What's for dinner? I don't know, whatever you make.
McDonald's it is then.
You make McDonald's, do you?
I make my way to McDonald's.
Brilliant. Get it in.
I need to clean it.
Spoken like a true wife. Get it in. Anyway, carry on. Actually, no, spoken like a true wolf. True wolf. Spoken like a true wife. Got a headache.
Yeah, washing my hair. Same deal with this one then. It's just a little bit of wear where it's been. It's not corroded and not pitted. Can't feel any noticeable lips or anything in there. It's all good.
I would like to point out at this stage that we're not sexist. We're just
Men.
yeah, men in our late 30s and early 40s. So
Early 30s? No, late. What did you say?
late 30s, early 40s.
Oh, right, yeah, I wasn't really listening. Sorry.
Spoken like a true husband. Let's go on. So it doesn't actually fit in because of the powder coat. It's an extra thick layer. So we're just going to have to clean off the powder coat on here and on the here.
That's where it makes contact with these bits.
So we'll just use a file and get rid of that gently so we don't damage any of the other powder coat around it.
Joy.
So this is going to have to be from this side so we don't catch the frame, and just gently rub off the edges.
This could take some time. There's probably an easier way of doing this. Maybe a grinder with a flat wheel.
So you've taken off the top layer of the powder coat without going back down to the metal. So we're just going to try it and see if that's enough. And hopefully it will be enough, because it was only just...
Yeah, it wasn't much.
No. Oh.
Oh, yes, there.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, okay. It may, obviously, once the powder coat wears a little bit, over time we may have to just nip up the bolt and tighten it a little bit. But for now, that goes in quite nicely.
It does.
Brilliant.
So we're just popping some grease on this bolt, so that when we put it in here, it's got some lubrication on. And then eventually it will drop through, like so. Although typically all the grease is coming off and going everywhere.
Well, what did you expect? It's a hole the same size as the bolt.
Yeah.
Right, I've got my torque wrench. Have you got the figures?
No. It says Swingarm, but it doesn't say any torquing wrenches or stuff yet. It's just like swing angles and
Okay.
lengths and...
23mm socket.
Is it?
Yeah.
Funny size,
I thought
isn't
it was
it?
a 22. Is that 23 as well? So yeah, that is the top tip. If you can't find the right one for that, find one of similar.
Yeah. Because torque settings are based on the size and thread pitch and so on, aren't they? So if
Is
you
it not based on load? How much load goes on it?
No, it's well, yeah, it is, but it's based on the material you're actually using to clamp it down.
Okay.
So it's you know, an M6 bolt, you can't torque back to the same as an M8 bolt because it will yield quicker because there's less material.
Okay.
If the bolt yields, then it's dead.
Right.
Away. But yeah, I mean, that's about the same size as the rear wheel spindle,
Okay.
which says on here should be...
So 70 Newton meters is actually 94 pounds-foot. That seems very tight. Hang on,
Hang on.
I felt it want to click.
Well, swing arm still moves. So. There
we
it
go.
is. One more.
There.
Beautiful.
We are there.
Nothing's just that's not.
Can you hold it on? Alright.
Nothing. Well, it's not even gripping it. Just put straight past it for some reason. There's nothing.
Right, sorry, got a bit carried away. We've managed to get that out really hard. We had to get the punch right on the edge and almost try and bend the end, but it wasn't going to do it. So We just kept hammering away and it came out in the end.
Nibbled at it.
And then we got carried away and put the new one in before I switched the camera on, sorry. But we've now got that in, we're now greasing it up. The new bearing can go in, and then we can get the other one in the top. That was a pain.
Yeah.
Took a lot longer than we hoped.
We should have done that before, really.
Yeah, never mind. So just grease up the bearing and slot it in, and then we have to hammer it home with this. Before installing the lower bearing, assemble the stock bearing with some balls between the races. Match the height of the stock bearing set up within plus or minus 1 mm by using the included washers, which is 1011 and 1054.
The shims.
If the OEM bearing matches the height of the replacement lower bearing, do not use the washers. So the washers might not be needed. However, they give you 2 thickness of washers depending on how far away it is from the edge.
Right.
Like so.
So having made the decision about the bearings we're going to use, this is the new top bearing race, which we're going to get any debris off the mallet.
You're not getting in my car.
That's there.
Yeah?
It's rained more sand out of the frame.
Yes.
Look at all this.
Oh, lovely. Powder coat sound.
Yeah, unfortunately it's getting all over everything. We're going to have to clean everything we use. The
Right.
new grease bearings are down there in the box.
However, at this point, would like to point out
You're pointing? Oh yes.
we have new mugs.
Look at that.
Look, new mugs, look.
And
Malcolm
to save
has-
confusion.
He's got his name on,
Yeah. Thank you.
and mine has my name on.
I like these new mugs.
I do. They're nice, aren't they? They're quite expensive though.
Yeah, it was pleasing.
But,
It's pleasing to look. I need to put it well. Logo out, name out. At the beginning of the video, maybe name out,
Yeah.
and then later on logo,
Logo.
out.
Name. Lovely.
Yeah,
Happy.
well done, Ronnie. I'm really pleased with these logos.
Absolutely. He's done a fantastic job. And he seems really chuffed with his prizes.
Yes, there'll be a picture on the
webpage.
on the webpage.
And it's on our Facebook page already.
Should go up just shortly after this video goes live, actually.
Yes,
So
okay, cool. Right, anyway.
That's really hot.
T does that.
Yeah.
Right, so that one's in. Bottom one in.
Yeah.
We
Bearings
just
are
need
down
to-
there in the box, safe with grease all over.
Okay.
The old one I cleaned out with brake cleaner completely just to get rid of everything, and then I put all new grease in it.
And then that needs cleaning up as well because that will be going back on and that looks disgusting. I'll clean that now. But whilst Malcolm is scraping off some of the aluminium tape off the powder coat from the inside of the yoke, I'm going to take off the tape from the wheels and see what they look like. So here we go. So, little bits around the edges, but that's easily cleanupable, no problem whatsoever. And I think that's just enough to break up the black of the wheels.
Yeah. The fact that these are aftermarket wheels makes them much more appealing, I think.
Yeah, much.
There's not many of these bikes have them in the first place.
No, and it's much more in keeping with the style of what we're going for.
And it's the history of the bike too.
Yeah.
It's keeping some of the history.
And you may also have noticed that my cold has gone. So, there. So, when putting these back together, they have to go back in a certain order. So the metal washer goes on first.
So our spacer. Then our dust seal. So that goes in the bottom of there and seals against the thingy, stop them getting in and grease getting out. And then our bearing's going to go on there. I need to just grease that bearing up again because I had to clean it,
Yeah.
having dropped it on the floor.
If that dog doesn't shut up, you might wrap him around there as well.
Yeah, maybe. So ideally, to press this bearing home, we'd have something that goes over the top of this that we can tap it home nice and even. We haven't got something that can do that. So I'm going to use a punch, and I'm just going to sit it on the very inside edge of the race there, so I'm not hitting the actual bearing cage. I'm going to tap it a little bit on each side, and then go around the four corners, as it were, on a round thing. And tap it home, and then make sure this dust seals in the middle as well. So stick your palm on the bottom of it and rotate it.
Seems fine actually. Yeah, seems to turn alright.
Alright, just hold on to that then.
Yeah.
Top bearing.
Doesn't go all the way, it's pressing home again, does it?
I think that'll probably just need tapping down, yeah. I can use the punch again, that's not... Need to push up on
that. Yeah, that way. Yeah. The rubber seal goes on top.
Yeah.
And then this spacer, does it need the spacer?
I don't think so, I think we just want that. Although having said that, that's meant to screw onto that thread that's not come out. So I'm thinking we don't want that spacer.
So it seems
Which
that
just
washer
seems too big.
just isn't necessary. Okay, so we need to try and get this bearing off without breaking it.
Yep.
Will it lever without breaking the rubber? Or is that going to damage the rubber?
I honestly don't know, we're going to have to just be really careful.
So how are you going to know whether you need the washer or not? Easiest way is to measure it before you take the old one off. I think that's the best way. We've learnt by our mistake there.
It is coming off
That's lucky.
fairly easily.
Luckily because it's very greased and it's only just gone on, I think.
There we go.
Okay, that's quite
Get
handy.
rid of that.
So this spacer is not necessary. It wasn't on there in the first place.
Oh, there was one there, wasn't there? Because I remember there being one underneath the...
But
The
where did,
original rubber
where did it
seal.
go then? We didn't.
Oh,
We
no,
kept
it's-
everything that we took off.
It's somewhere. But I remember there being one, because I remember smashing the
Well, there's a
old rubber
thinner
seal.
one. Do you want to use the thinner one?
Well, how much of that? We need quite a lot of thread on the top of this.
We do.
Well, what it said was if the
It says if required.
if this isn't level with the bottom of the doodah, just put that in the hole and see where it's at.
It's I mean, that to me is level. Once you've got that rubber seal on there,
Yeah, and
That's
then
level.
this will then sit against that.
the rubber seal,
Seal.
yeah.
So I'm guessing this bearing is just
However-
a bit taller.
That rubber seal is then going to twist,
No, because it sits against this narrow piece.
and that will twist together as one.
Yeah, this all goes, that will
Yeah,
go, the bearing will go.
All right, okay.
So yeah, I think that's how it's got to be on this one.
All right, fair enough then.
So just plonk that straight back on. If it's wrong, then we're going to have to lever it off again.
The issue being, if we get it on there and then there's too much thread showing.
And then we've got a washer on the top.
Right.
I know there's no bearing in there yet, but
So now with the washer removed completely, it's extremely close. Well, obviously it's got powder coat on both sides, so it's going to be close anyway.
that's going to sit down about there, which is in line with the top of the thread.
Okay. So
we
where's the
need to
bearing?
Keep that clean. Hold that in there.
That's catching. I'm just going to do an experiment by putting on that washer
On the top.
on top and see if it screws down. It does, but it's only like 5 turns.
Yeah, which is probably what, 2 threads or something.
1, 2, 3 turns.
Yeah, which is
That's
virtually
not enough.
nothing in that
No,
pitch.
that's not enough. This is what's in the way.
Yeah.
If this was, I mean that,
We could hammer it up a bit.
But it's jammed there, look.
Yeah, if we were to hammer that up, it would still catch these.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so we could take the shaft out, hammer that out the way a
Yeah.
little bit.
That's what I mean. So if we just move the corners up, because look, that's actually, it won't actually turn.
Don't do too much because you'll break the thingy.
And it's actually catching a lot on the powder coat. Look at that, look.
Yeah, no, I see it.
If we just turn the corners up,
Just wallop it.
that's all it's doing. It's just catching, because the powder coat is slightly raised on here, you can see, look, there's a slight indentation where it's digging into it there. So we're going to hammer the corners of this up, the stop, so it can still catch this, but not get in the bloody way!
Yeah, and it's still going to get them stops, so that's
What a pain in the arse.
Yeah. This is going to chip a bit of powder coat off of it.
Can't see.
Well, like, well caught.
Very good.
Get it. So although we've not got the forks in here yet, I got hold of the bottom of this and I still can. I can just feel it moving back and forth slightly. There's a little bit of play in there. So I'm just nipping this up to try and get rid of that play by pushing the bearings into their cones. That's now better.
So next comes the forks. Now we have to make sure that before we put the forks in, we have to put the gates on.
Yeah, and also make sure they slide nicely in these things.
Yes. No, it's alright, Sean.
There.
There we go.
At the right angle.
Yeah. Onto the shocks. These we haven't adjusted yet. We can't really adjust them fully until they're on the bike and it's all resting and well and ready to go.
We can advertise whoever we love.
Can we?
It's our channel.
Right.
Look, the shocks are on. However, we need to drill and tap the bottom holes because they're currently M8 and they need to be M10s. So next time round we're just going to drill it out, re-tap it on the inside and put a new bolt in there to fit the bush properly. And then up the top here, the original setup had something this side, I forget what it was, maybe a tax disc holder or something, as a washer. This one had a washer, however, finding one the same as this because it's quite fat is going to be tricky. We might have to get just two the same for the outsides. And then these shock top mounts are slightly narrower than the original shocks, so we need to put a spacer on the inside which goes over that shaft. So we're just going to get some washers or some spacers maybe made up to push it out, and then we can nip these nuts down on there. Jobs are good. But for now we can get the thing together. Great.
So the next thing to do before we get the wheels on is to put the brake mechanism on, so then we can get the bolts in quite easily without having to negotiate around the wheel. So the assembly is now back together. The assembly is back together? The assembled stuff is assembled.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah. So what we're going to do now is get the back on the paddock stand and then get the front wheel on, and then it's in a stable position to put the engine in. Now we've realised that the front paddock stand isn't actually that stable, so we're not going to use that to put the engine in. We're just going to use the wheel and then be ready if it slips, falls, crashes, bangs, etc.
We'll put the back wheel on first before the engine.
Well, yes,
We'll have
well,
two-
yeah,
two
I know,
wheels,
but
yeah.
we'll have the back paddock stand and the wheel
Yeah.
anyway. So let's get that paddock stand on.
Yeah, do you want to rotate it off and around a bit?
All right, to you. We're going that way, are we? Okay,
Alexander there, aren't we?
Yep.
Don't go too far forward.
No, there you go.
Yep.
Okay. So these are the bolts that hold the disc into place.
Hang on, don't get so excited. Can I put this on?
Oh, of course, yeah. Duh.
Trying to remember what way around it all goes. Spacer and stuff. Haven't quite got a plan, did it?
That's fine. I'm going to see it. What Malcolm's referring to is that I missed a slight bit of adjustment on the masking, and there's 0.5 millimetre that you. It's fine. No, it's fine.
I think they're metric. We've got some shiny ones to replace those.
We have. Where are they?
They should be in the hardware box. Chipping, I think.
This was the awkward bit, getting it past here.
That's plastic, so it's not the end of the world if it.
No, but I don't want to rub too much against the. There we go. Come on.
You in?
Yeah. Next thing before we put the back wheel on is we need to put the new shoes in. So we have our little bits, we have our new shoes. The old ones aren't too bad, but as a matter of course we shall replace them anyway.
Been on there a long time, hasn't it?
Yes. Now you don't get the springs with the new shoes. So,
Oh, a new cotter pin.
no, indeed. So we need to make sure we undo this pin without breaking it.
I have got loads of them at home, but they're not here.
No, that's no good. And retain these springs, because we shall use those on the new ones. And then take that part. All we need to do is undo that, take out the pin, and they will pop off, and then we can take out the springs. Now, if you remember when we talked about this before, because this is a slightly different sprocket, the bolts do not slide down there, so there's an actual little gap. So we're just going to grind a slight groove out of each one so it slots down quite nicely. So that's what we're going to do now. So using the bench grinder, just going to grind in a small groove. So there you go. They are now nicely ground down and they fit marvellously. Let's get it on. So with the sprocket now on, we can get the ring on top, yeah, and then the circlip round.
Death clip.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
No. There we go, that's in. Clipped, as it were.
Yeah, it's that.
Marvellous. Okay, so that can now go on the bike.
Now what is missing from here, there should be some little metal things that go from one bolt to the other on each side,
Yeah.
with bendy tabs.
Mm.
But They weren't on there when we took it apart.
They weren't, no.
If these come loose, we'll just put some thread lock on them.
Okay. So here's a little tip. Turn the camera on before you start talking. Other than that, I'll say it again. This is the spline that the rear brake lever attaches to. Now, this was all gunked up. We took it out and it was covered in all sorts of slime and gunk. So cleaned it off with brake cleaner, and we're going to grease it up before it goes back into the rear brake drum. Otherwise your brakes will go on but they won't come off again, and that could be quite dangerous. So just make sure that's nice and clean before you reassemble your wheel. There. Lovely. All greased and stuff. Shove that in its hole. Okay, so now that's in and done and on, etc, etc. Let's get the wheel over here and the brake drum fitted. Or we'll just do it over there, whichever.
I can do it here, maybe. Maybe this spot's just about right. Oh, look at that, fits in there lovely.
Lovely.
Maybe we should have painted that bit.
What bit?
That bit.
No, it's fine.
Okay, I'm going to grab the spindle. We also need the outside insert bits
We do.
to go in the frame, which is over there.
Yeah. I don't think there's a sider, do they?
No.
No, they just go in.
They just go in.
So that one can go in.
Oh, we're going to have issues getting them in.
Bloody powder coat again.
Oh.
For God's sake! There's something to be said for powder coating. It looks lovely, but it's such a pain in the arse because it closes gaps where gaps don't need to be.
Yeah, that was a snug fit before.
That was.
Now it's got extra stuff in it.
It's very, very tight, as in it won't even...
That's in.
Okay.
Yeah, that's alright.
Marvellous.
Thank you.
Oh, hello.
What?
We've got issues.
Wow, that's not good, is it?
That's way out of line. Oh, we haven't got a bent swing arm, have we?
Well, how's it going to have gotten bent? And it.
So undoing this has made no difference whatsoever.
No.
That's a mite frustrating.
Yeah, well, I think we should file the paint out of these holes just to make absolutely sure that's not causing the problem.
Right. I can't see how much of it, because we're talking that much difference.
Yeah, and that has just pushed it out of the way, hasn't it? You can see the notches on the powder coat where it's pushed through. But that is so far.
That's a lot out.
You can see there
Look at
now
that.
how much higher that is.
That was never like that. That is a lot out in comparison to the fact that it was perfectly straight before it went through its powder coating.
Mm.
And that spline hasn't moved, so that hasn't bent.
Spline?
The shafty, spliney,
This?
that bolt,
Spindle.
that. Mr. Facetious. Facetious.
Well, you say the wrong thing, no one knows what you're talking about.
Everyone knows what I'm talking about. It's this bit. I mean, what else can I be talking about?
I was talking about splines.
Well, I'm sorry I don't know the technical terms, sir.
And this moves up and down freely, so we haven't got issues with it being held in a twisted thing up the front there.
No. Yes, I think what we're going to do is take it out, put the wheel in, and then just move the wheel to push it down to get it in line with that, and do it that way and see if it has an effect. We don't want to have any problems with the a bent wheel. Alright, you lift it slightly. Okay. Right, now is the wheel aligned?
No. Well, that's what the aligners are for.
No, but I mean, it actually looks alright. There's not that much difference between the gap on this side and that side.
Oh, I see. No, it's... I don't think it's really bent. I think maybe it was like this before and we just didn't notice it.
Maybe the powder coating is more accented.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, well, it's in.
It's in.
So now comes the exciting bit. We're ready to put the engine in. Now, before we thought we need to protect this frame, so we went down to the local carpet shop and spent 50p in the charity box and came away with a nice soft square of carpet. And we were feeling so generous, we bought another one as well. So there. So yes, this is to protect the frame. So put it in there and in there, and then the engine will slide nicely in. Right, having consulted the video, it looks like sump in first and down, and then twist it forward,
and then just drop it in.
And then drop it in, and we'll push that carpet out the bottom. So that means you've got to lift it on your own.
That's how easy we made it look last time.
We've set ourselves a precedent there.
Yeah. Yeah, I can lift it up to there, and then you can pull it in.
Okay, go on then. Go careful.
Oh, moved.
No, up a bit. Okay.
Hang on. Alright, get rid of the carpet.
Yeah. Carpet's a bad idea, it's too thick. Right, as long as we get it over this, we'll be alright.
Yeah, should put more tape on it.
Right, that'll do. We're good.
This one's actually going in.
Hang on. Did we take the air filter off before?
The what?
The air filter. The oil filter. Or not?
Oh, we might have done, yeah.
So now we've remembered to take the oil filter off.
Just turn the knot.
I would. Yeah, okay. We can then
And then empty it in the box.
put it in a lot easier. Okay. Now the oil filter is off.
That might make it a bit easier, eh?
Yeah.
I think that's what's catching there.
That'll be right.
More tape.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
That's not going to catch on there, is it?
I hope not.
It's not there anymore.
True.
Right. Okay.
Oh, that's a lot heavier now.
A bit more.
Is that over?
Right.
Grab the gearbox you've got on your side.
Yeah.
And take some of the weight.
Okay.
And you roll it in. What's in the way now?
Right,
Nothing's
right on the frame.
We need to rotate it forwards a bit. That's it.
Okay, it's now sitting. The sump's now sitting on the frame. It's a twist.
Twist which way?
That way.
Oh, that way apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's...
It's in line. That's now
Okay,
sitting on there.
I'm going to lift it and then rotate it backwards slightly.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we...
You know what's happened, don't you?
No.
It's catching on the powder coat.
It doesn't fit any gaps, does it? No, it's not even dropped in there yet.
No, it's not. Right.
Sweat in the eye.
You ready? Needs to come my way through the middle.
It's just twirled your way too far, it's supposed to be in the middle. Something's in the way.
It's the powder coat.
You reckon?
Yeah. 'Cause I'm right up against the bolt hole here.
So am I.
Okay, the engine's in place. We're just knocking through the bolt now. Here it is.
Is it out?
Yep.
Really? Just give it a tap with a punch because the foot bed's in the way. Stick with it.
Yeah. So whilst Malcolm is putting on these bolts and the putting on the pedal, I am going to put on the new sprocket while the side cover is off. So I'm doing that now.
Yeah, we've got this spring.
Okay, as Malcolm is fighting with the last of the tape, I am going to dig out the front mudguard bracket.
Didn't take much digging, did it?
Nope, I dug very deeply.
I think I'd already dug it.
Now this is going to be difficult with the gate is in.
Oh, just moving.
Okay, alright. Oh, smart.
Still going to be difficult though.
Yeah, it is.
There's a bit of a squeeze.
So now with this number plate, no, mudguard bracket on, we're going to give you a tiny teaser.
Pop thing here.
And what we mean by that is we are going to put on the front mudguard, which is obviously that goldy orange. So you can see a slight hint of what it's going to look like. And we've got our new stainless steel bolts that we went out to get this morning. Come on, bring it in, bring it in, bring it in, bring it in.
Maybe.
Ooh.
Reside around about there.
Yeah.
Doesn't really want to stay. It's all a bit slippery.
Right, where's the nuts, bolts, things?
I'll get them through there. Hold it. I shouldn't worry about it because I want to take it off again afterwards.
Why?
So it doesn't get damaged.
Why did it get damaged?
Because we've got other things to do. There we go.
Okay.
So now you can do a tour with the vlog cam.
Okay, so this is what we've got. Mudguard, engine, frame, suspension, wheels, tyres, all on. New sprockets. What we're going to do, for those of you that are Patreons, we're going to add a few more bits and give you a sneak peek of what it will look like. So you get an extra special reveal. So pop along to the Patreon page and have a look at what it's like. For your eyes only.
And it's really not expensive if you want to help us out.
If you do want to help us out, it's very much appreciated. It's basically $1 US a month. Of course it can be more if you wish, but that's all we're asking for really, not a great deal. And it's all going towards everything back to the channel. Nothing goes in our pockets.
No. Even
So-
the money we make on the channel doesn't.
Absolutely. It goes on t-shirts, it goes on prizes, it goes on giveaways. We make zero out of this. It's not what we do it for. So any little extra helps fantastically. So today we've managed to get the engine in. Now we know we have to change the exhaust studs on the engine here, and the reason why we haven't done it today is that they're on order and they haven't arrived yet. So we're going to have to do them next week, but that's not a problem. We're going to change the exhaust studs and then we're going to hopefully build the rest of the bike. So that's coming in the next episode.
It's been a long
really
day
pleased. It's been a long day. It's 8 o'clock at night now, so it's been a very long day. But we've had a few issues to overcome, and I think we've done quite well. Very excited indeed. Can't wait till next week. I'm so excited. I'm thinking about calling in sick. No, I'm not. No, I'm not calling in sick in case my boss is watching this. I would never do that. I hope I'm not off sick now.
Oh, that would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It's not intentional, promise. You know what I'm like. Anyway, move on. So, yes, next week you will see it really come together. And really pleased so far. Really, really pleased.
We've made good progress today.
Indeed. What else do we have to say? Well, thank you very much for joining us. We would like you, please, if you do like this video, to click like. If you don't like this video, then click dislike, so be it. If you have any,
do one of those things, that's brilliant.
yeah, if you have any comments, please leave them in the comments section below. If you have any questions, please do that. And we're thinking about doing a Q&A, a live Q&A. If you want to partake in that, please leave a comment and let us know if you're interested in that as well. And until next time, please ride and drive carefully.
But subscribe, click the bell, and have fun.
What a phrase.
It is now.
Oh my God.
But have fun.
From
the end.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You've ruined it now. No, you've ruined it.
See you later.